The Gifted, Episode 10, Exploited. So this, of course, was the mid-season finale, and it was really, really good. It was a pretty cool mid-season finale where it's like, what in the world is going on? And then, I gotta be honest, the ending, I watched this, what was it? I guess technically it's like 2 days ago now. I was just up super late watching it. I was doing something else, because I was like, I'm not even going to watch it. I thought I was going to watch it, the next day, and I was doing something in my room, so I was like, well, I might as well just watch it. And so I'm watching it, and I'm, enjoying the episode. Eventually, I'm just watching the episode, not even doing the other thing I planned on doing. And I'm going through, I'm like, this is cool. I don't understand what's going on with this girl. Like, I don't get why she's tricking everybody. Technically, her plan is working. It's like, man, she is, like, all in on this whole ordeal about getting to her family. And we get a flashback of her where she worked for, like, a senator or something like that. And he's doing, like, humans first, that sort of deal. And she gets, like, this crazy warning where it's like, come find us, come find us. And it's like, alright, well, what in the world is going on there? Like, was that, like, a weird, like, expansion of her powers? Because it seemed like it wasn't her just not getting her powers. So it's like, alright, well, what in the world's going on here? So go through the episode and everything's playing out. And I'm telling you, that ending, like, I wish there was a way to, like, make people feel what I felt when I saw this, because for people that don't read comics, it was probably just like, whoa, that's kind of creepy, that's a cool moment. For me, who knows, at least somewhat, mostly because of YouTube, that's how I get, like, that's how I keep up on my comics, is YouTube. When that ending came up, and I normally don't swear, so I apologize to my younger viewers, but when that happened, that was a holy fuck moment for me. Like, they have these two girls get out of the bus, and then they're standing together, and I was like, I did not see that coming in any regard. So, for people that do not know who those characters are, those are the Stepford Cuckoos, they're called. And if I remember right, they are basically 3 triplets who are clones of Emma Frost. Emma Frost, I think everyone knows who she is, mostly because of the not Days of Future Past, First Class, she was in that. But Emma Frost is like the one who can become Diamond, and if she's not in her Diamond form, she can use telepathy. And she's one of the, like, strongest telepaths in, like, all of comic books. And the clones are pretty far up there. They're pretty high up there, especially when the 3 of them are together. They are insanely powerful, and when they showed that, it was just like, this is nuts. Also, that whole scene was amazing. Like, I know I'm super calm now, but I'm telling you, if I did this video after I first saw that episode, I wouldn't be nearly this calm, because I was losing my mind. Like, it's probably one of my favorite references that they've made to the overall universe. Like, the first one, of course, has to be Polaris, because it's like, alright, they have Magneto's daughter as one of the main characters, so that's insanely awesome. Of course, you have Trask Industries, you have the Sentinels, but this was like, the Stepford Cuckoos are here. Like, I don't know their full history, so, like, I don't know what that means as far as, like, who made the characters and, like, how Emma Frost got cloned, all that stuff. I have a guess, because it's, like, the one person I can think of that would clone anybody would be Mr. Sinister, because that's, like, his whole deal, is, like, cloning and mutations and making the perfect mutant. So that's just me throwing a theory out there, because I'm not 100% familiar with their origins from comics. But, man, that was a crazy reveal for me, because I was like, it just never dawned on me. I was like, yeah, she's got some psychic powers, she can read people's minds, and then it was like, oh, she can make people do stuff, which I mentioned before. The fact that she kind of pushed a dream, or like that nightmare, into Polaris' head, I was like, okay, so clearly she has some extra abilities here. But then it was like full-on control, like, you do this, you shoot this person, you kill yourself. Turner, or Jace, I mean, things just suck for that dude. He has to relive his daughter dying. This episode is just like, his buddy just kills himself in front of him. So he's just like, I don't know how they expect to write a character that doesn't completely snap in this series when he's dealing with the stuff that he's dealt with. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this character, but he just watches a bunch of other people die once again. But like I said, that reveal I had to talk about first, because it was insane. For me, at least, like I said, in other comic fans, it may have been the same thing. Some people may have figured that out already, but for me, I was just like, I just don't get it. Like, she just really wants her family, everyone else be damned. But then it made sense, because it's like their thing is that if they are together, they are more powerful. That's just how it is. So it made even more sense when it actually happened. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, she's driven because it's her family, screw everybody else. they kind of have to be together to be like at their peak in order to, because I believe if they're together they're almost, if not just as strong as Emma Frost, which is insanely powerful. Like she's probably number 3 as far as like telepaths. Of course, you got Jean and then Xavier, and then I think she's number 3. It might be some other stuff in there depending on how you want to look at it, like Shadow King and all that. But it's just nuts. Like when that happens, like that is freaking crazy. Plus they kind of have them in the costumes for the promo for the next episode where she's like dressed in all white, or like the white and black outfit. So I was like, that's super cool too. But that was awesome. Crazy ending to the episode. Super, super, super cool reveal. And then of course you have the rest of the episode, which is cool. Unfortunately, and I meant to look at my old review because I believe I said this, but sadly we did lose Dreamer in this episode, and that really sucked. And it was quick too. Like it wasn't the long drawn out thing where it's like, oh, I might have to do this, like I've given you 1,800 chances. It was just like, no, I want you to do this, combine your powers, show us what you can do. They wouldn't do it, and so they bring in Blink and Dreamer, and it's like, alright, do it. And Dreamer says, not to do it. The kids are kind of looking confused for a little bit, like, do we listen to her, do we not listen to her, we want to save them. And it was like, okay, time's up. And he just turned around and killed her. And it was just like, holy crap, that was it. It wasn't like, oh, there was the first shot because he shot her in the stomach. And it's like, that's going to be a painful, super slow death that she can somehow get out of. He shot her basically straight in the heart, and she hit the ground and she was dead. And that was pretty intense, like the way they did. And I mentioned this before, the way they show people die in the show when they get shot is like oddly disturbing because it's real life. Like when they did it before with Pulse, when they first thought he died, he was shot once in the back and he hit the ground, and it was like, that's what it's like if you happen to get hit in like the right part of your body, or the wrong part I guess. That's exactly what happens. You were just hit and you just drop. Your body is nothing. And that's what happened. And they kind of did the slow motion thing a little, but it was just like, sometimes when they want to like make that impact, that's the best way to do it, is just to make it like a realistic shot, because that's what would happen if you got shot in the heart or you got shot in the head. You just drop to the ground and you're gone. And that was just like, man, that sucked. That really sucked to see that. So of course, they threaten Blink after that, and she's the one who gets the multiple opportunities where it's like, hey, I already did it before, that sort of deal. So ultimately we get to see this new ability. We get to see it in almost at its max. I don't know if that was 100% at max, because they start to slow down. So I don't know. Like it seemed like they could have kept pushing if they wanted to, but we get to see Lauren and Andy officially combine their powers together. Visually, look great too, because before it was just like they would just do like the wind and their hair blowing and stuff. But we actually see like the power channel through their bodies, and then it like moves out of their hands. I actually loved the way that looked. Like the visuals for it looked really cool. So I like the way that was actually handled, because I thought it was just going to be, because when they first did it with the bank, it was like, this is what they see, and it's almost like it becomes like a different color. Like things start to go almost like neon a little bit. But this was like, no, we see them as they're controlling it, and we see the power like physically moving towards their hand and like out of their body. So I was like, that's actually kind of cool to see. And of course, adamantium, so that's super awesome. Wolverine, the claws, that's adamantium. I don't know why I'm saying that. I feel like everyone on the planet knows that at this point. But if you don't, Wolverine's claws are made from adamantium. But yeah, I thought that was cool. It's like, adamantium doesn't break. They can do as much as they want, which I thought was dope. Like, even when he was saying that, I was like, yeah, it doesn't break, but adamantium does bend. And if you have an insane amount of force, which they show in this episode, they had a lot of force. They were pushing that thing. Adamantium is just so insanely powerful that all that force just pushed the entire room into the next room, where it at least was breaking through the wall, until they stopped using their power. So it was like, I figured that might happen. I was like, this might not like break, the wall won't like blow out or anything like that, but something's gonna happen here, because this adamantium can still be bent, like if you do it right. So I thought that was pretty cool. It shows how strong they are as well. It's just another kind of comic thing where it's like, oh, they put a dent in adamantium. Like they were pushing it with such immense physical force that it dented adamantium quite a few times. It was like multiple levels within that dent. So I was like, that says a lot. That is super freaking cool. Also, their power apparently is a way to wipe out mutants permanently. It's either to suppress the gene or it's to like just flat out kill mutants. I wasn't 100%. He was kind of vague. It was like, we found a solution to our mutant problem, a permanent one. And I was like, I would assume it's the getting rid of powers deal, because that was kind of why, like when they went to, I can't even think of the dude. The dad. I can't think of his first name. But Reed. When they went to Reed's father, a big part of it was like, oh, your research on how to suppress the mutant gene is what led me to my research, which is enhancing mutant powers. So I'm assuming that what they found was a way to completely suppress the abilities, even if the mutants, the mutant powers have already developed. I feel like that's kind of what they were able to take out of that ability with the combination of their powers. It showed them like the clear key to like, this is what the one cell or strand of DNA is that allows for mutants' powers to work. And so it'll allow them to kind of just wipe them all out 100%. So that would be, fairly interesting if that's exactly what they're going for. But, like I said, a crazy moment. We lost Dreamer, and, there was no escape in this episode, really. And, it starts to come down to it, with all the chaos. And then we, of course, have, we have our Struckers. We have everybody really just being manipulated. By the I still don't know their names. I only know them as like the Stepford Cuckoos, so I don't even know if they have individual names, if I'm being totally honest. I know she gave one. I think it's Esme. I'm pretty sure. So, she tricks, it's like, let me trick the human parents, let me trick everybody else that's a mutant. And, that was an interesting thing, seeing Jace actually go through that process. And they totally played it up with the wife, where it was like, her being like, you went to their house with the gun for their kids and stuff, and she's kind of helping him realize how crappy things are. And she hit him with the, what are you doing in our daughter's name? It was like, oh, well, he can't keep going if he uses his own daughter against them. So that's how that ends up working. But the ending was, like I said, just absolutely insane, because I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. Eventually, she just kind of gave up the plan. And I also, at the time, when she knocked out Eclipse, I was like, what does she plan on doing? She's not that powerful. I was quite mistaken, because it was just like, okay, you kill yourself, you pull the pin off your grenade, step in the car, you just shoot each other, do this, do that. I was like, oh, I was sorely mistaken, because I'm like, she's going to push a couple of ideas or something. I was like, no, that's full-on control. So, great way to end the episode out, especially as someone who at least is familiar with those characters from comics. Like I said, blew my mind. So, it had a great, super epic nerd moment. Loved it. I don't know what it means. It does. I just don't know what it means. Like, they most likely will not be bringing the big characters in. They just probably won't do that. But this was such a cool reveal. I love that moment for sure. But naturally, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. Of course, we had a death in this episode. Our first, really, really big death as far as characters that have shown up. And like I said before, I figured it would be her, because like, if anyone's gonna die, it's the character that came in, became important like in episode 3 or 2 or 3. So I was like, yeah. And unfortunately, it happened in general, but it was kind of how I thought it was gonna play out, where it was like, she had some importance, but it was very clear that she would be the odd one out if there was gonna be a death in the episode. Still sucks that it happened, but definitely a crazy way to, end off the first half of the season, is kill off one of the characters, and then, like I said, for me personally at least, introduce the Stepford Cuckoos, which is just, I don't even know where that's going to go next. But like I said, want to know what you guys thought about this episode, what you guys are thinking and feeling about the death. Do you care? Do you not care because of who the character was, your familiarity? I feel like a lot of these characters are not really familiar characters in general, outside of, well, really at all, if I'm being totally honest. Like, Polaris I know, Blink I know, that's pretty much it. If I'm being in Stepford Cuckoos, I knew from this, but everyone else is like, I'm not super familiar with them. Didn't know about Eclipse. Pretty much every other character they've shown is like, I'm not familiar with them. I'm not familiar with your powers. I'm just not familiar. But it still has an impact, with Dreamer being the first person to be killed off, if there are going to be more. But would love to know how you guys are feeling about that. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.